If somebody's never done a detox protocol before, I would recommend some supplements to combine with sauna usage as an intestinal binder to do an intestinal sweep. The body's intelligence is storing compounds that your body's not fit to process all at one time that would cause organ failure in the fat cells. It's using its own intelligence to save your life. I've known about this for a long time because it's one of the ways that I got screwed up. So all these people selling chelation protocols, oh, you need to detox heavy metals. Well, you do, but you need to do it in an intelligent way that works with the bodily systems and not forced when you're in a holding phase. Intestinal binder or doing an intestinal sweep is just excretion support for a natural detox process. And the reason why that's critical to understand is because people get wrapped up in doing chelation, which is forced synthetic mobilization. You would take a compound that forces the body to release a larger quantity than it would normally detox on its own, perhaps at a time when the body's not ready to process that. And that's how people get screwed up. People that are overweight, sometimes they're storing extra toxins in their fat cells and they don't know it. So when they lose weight, they feel like shit. They have no idea that that's why. Because when you're shedding those fat cells, you're also introducing some of those compounds into circulation. But that goes for all of us. Whether you have a little bit of extra weight or a lot of bit of extra weight, it doesn't matter. Unless you're 0% body fat, that wouldn't apply to you. So basically it applies to all of us. So anytime you go through a shedding phase, which means calorie reduction or weight loss or anything like that, you can trigger these types of things to happen. And one of the most beneficial things that you can do to help you through that is to take an intestinal binder to basically mop up those things that are introduced into circulation. You're just assisting a natural process. There's 4 or 5 that I use. I rotate them. I don't make it complicated. I'll put a list of them on certifiedsaunas.com/resources. So if you go to the recommended resources page, I'll have a list on there and then where you can buy them. You can get them from Amazon. There's some fake products on Amazon sometimes, so every once in a while I'll do iHerb or places like that. But just as a general rule, the biggest one is charcoal. You could do activated coconut charcoal. You could do regular burnt charcoal. Bentonite clay is another one. You could do modified citrus pectin. It's another one. You could do things like psyllium husk. You could also do a couple of blends that I recommend where they combine a few of these ingredients, but nothing crazy. Some of the companies want to charge you $100 a bottle for some of these supplements, and you don't need it. The simple ones work just as good. This is just an example, but it's very important for people to understand this. For somebody that has heavy metal toxicity, it's a good thing. It's not a good thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a good thing. It's saving your life. The body's intelligence is storing compounds that your body's not fit to process all at one time that would cause organ failure in the fat cells. It's using its own intelligence to save your life, right? Because you would have all types of problems. It would be like if you got exposed to something in a high concentration, you need help or you will die, right? Like you need medical attention. It's the same thing, just on a smaller scale. So people think that it's bad, like it is bad. Obviously you want to deal with it, but they have heavy metal toxicity or they're holding on to compounds or their excretory pathways are not working correctly. On one hand, yeah, you need to address that to have better health and live optimally. On the other hand, it's a good thing because the body's intelligence is saving you from potential organ damage if that weren't happening. How people get screwed up is if their body is not fit to do a chelation or detox protocol and you force them to do it, which is what you're doing if you're not monitoring or measuring or taking labs before you give them chelators like DMPS, alpha lipoic acid, EDTA, things like that. You're taking a dose of this substance that will mobilize a particular compound that it has an affinity for in your body, and you're pushing that into the circulation of the body and towards the excretory pathways at a volume that the body isn't doing on its own. Because if it was doing it on its own already, those substances wouldn't be there, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. You could be overweight and just have the carrying capacity to hold on to those things. I've known about this for a long time because it's one of the ways that I got screwed up. So all these people selling chelation protocols, oh, you need to detox heavy metals. Well, you do, but you need to do it in an intelligent way that works with the bodily systems and not forced when you're in a holding phase. What a holding phase is when the body is not prepared to deal with that stuff. When your organs aren't working properly, the body will hold on to those. It's not going to intelligently introduce more of that stuff into circulation if you can't process it, because then you get redistribution symptoms. And so what happens, instead of going deeper into that, I just want you to have a basic understanding of why. Because we don't use mobilizers for people that aren't under care or having labs or anything like that. And I don't suggest them because you have no idea what's going on with yourself. What I do suggest is you take an intestinal binder, which is basically just a sweep. It's like if you spilled something on the floor, would you use a mop to clean it up or would you use a paper towel? Well, if it's a big spill, you'd use a mop. Well, these intestinal binders, they're the mop, right? And so all they're doing is you ingest them, they go through the GI tract, and they're a sponge. They just soak up extra stuff and they just help assist eliminate in a slow, easy way. And it's not forced chelation. So you don't use a blend of stuff that has mobilizers in it. And that's very critical. And that's why instead of just telling you a brand or, a type, I'll put a list together so people can click on the link and not buy the wrong thing. Because some of the companies sell both.